Hey, what's up, and welcome to QnA, the show where I take your questions and answer them here in video format. A ton of questions this week, and let's just get into it. The first question is going to be from Dame, who says, is this going to be Deshaun's breakout game against the Commanders? I think there's a decent chance of it. I wouldn't guarantee it because, it's not like the Commanders are a bad defense, but I would say the last two games, Deshaun, from a mechanical standpoint, like his feet and everything, I know some people have floated that there's something wrong with his throwing motion. I don't see that being a problem for him right now. Maybe in the first game, but the last three games, I haven't felt like his throwing motion has been anything that's been inhibiting him at all. His feet were in the first and second game. His feet were most definitely inhibiting him. But the last two games, his feet were fine. And his accuracy kind of follows suit with that. I think it'll be interesting, right? This is going to be the first game where he's going to have decent conditions. It's supposed to be about 60, not too much wind. It's going to be pretty normal conditions for a football game. So I could see him having a big game under those circumstances. I don't know what the play calling is going to be. I feel like it's going to be very vanilla. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, I think he has a chance to put up some decent numbers here. Now, he's not going to throw for 6 touchdowns or anything like that. But maybe a 2-3 touchdown day could be in line with maybe 200, 300 passing yards. And I think that would be a pretty nice outing against a really good defense. And I think he's been kind of due for one of those. I think last week especially, he could have gotten it. But, football's a team sport. You got to catch the balls that are thrown to you. And, some guys just didn't come down with it that week. Hopefully they have a bounce back next week and play much better. All right, the next question comes from Cody. Says, hey, Q, do you think Kareem Hunt will be playing in Cleveland next year? Nah, I don't. I'd be surprised. Now, again, I didn't think Jack Conklin would make it. So maybe there's an argument you can make for it. I also don't think that Jerome Ford's going to be the replacement for Kareem Hunt. I think he's going to continue to be third string. I think they end up parting ways with both Kareem Hunt and Dearness Johnson because both of those guys don't have much use out the gun. And Dearness is fine running out the gun. He's just not a good receiver. And Kareem's not. You can get an upgrade from a receiving back of Kareem at this point of his career. I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns actually hit the free agent market and go after a receiving back that way. Again, this is a win now team after this season. So they're going to be looking for win now options. And I would not be surprised if they got a more experienced, receiving back more so than a running back. Because I'm sorry, my apologies, but yeah, I think that's where they're leaning towards, right? When Baker Mayfield and Jacoby Brissett were the quarterbacks in this system, it made a ton of sense to have two bruising backs. But now that you're going to be running most of your offense out pistol and gun, it just doesn't make the same amount of sense anymore to have two big backs. I think you're going to want to have some lighter personnel in there, but that's just my thoughts on that. Let me know your thoughts. The next question comes from Love for Kicks 2-6. Says, hey Q, what receiver do you think can perform well with Deshaun Watson, and do you think you could possibly get this offseason? I had this talk with Jake, and I think it's hard to put a finger on now because every year they're like a handful of players at a random amass of positions that suddenly become available, right? DeAndre Hopkins could become available. Devontae Adams can become available. We didn't if you think about it like this, in December of last year, did you think Amari Cooper would be a Brown? I did not, right? So I don't know who or what receivers are going to become available, but I think the Browns are going to be very, very keen on that market. I think they feel like they need one missing piece on this offense, and that's receiver. And what I mean by receiver is they need somebody to go up and get some 50-50 balls. in the red zone. They need a plus athlete there, right? Because I think Coop and DPJ are great wide receivers to get you to the red zone. I don't think they're great finishers in that respect. Next question comes from Evan, who says likelihood of big name free agents and a D coordinator this offseason. I would say big name free agents, if they get one, it's probably through a trade and it's probably for a wide receiver. Maybe a D tackle, but I think it's probably for a trade for a wide receiver. Other than that, I don't think the names are going to be mind blowing. Now, defensive coordinator, I think you can have a reasonable chance to get a lot of, to get the coordinator of your choice, at least one of your top three choices, because you look at this Browns defense, and if you're a defensive coordinator, I mean, if you have any confidence in yourself, you should believe that you could put together a good defense with Myles Garrett, with Greg Newsome. Grant Delpit's been playing well. JOK's been pretty good when he's out there. Denzel Ward, like all these guys on this defense, you got to be able to believe that you could step in and help make this defense reach its potential because, I think coaches have egos too. And I don't know how you look at a team that has Myles Garrett and think, I don't want to coach that team defensively. Matthew says, disregarding cap space, which expiring Browns contract should they re-sign? Has Taki done enough to consider an extension? I think the two interesting ones are Taki, because Greedy's gone. Taki and Anthony Walker. What do they do with that? I think a lot of that's going to depend on what happens at defensive coordinator. Since we have no clue what's going on with that position right now, we don't even know if it's an open position. We're kind of just assuming at this point, and I think it's a fair assumption to make. I don't know who they're going to keep. I can have a better answer for you once they replace the defensive coordinator and move on to a new system, or if they make it official that they're not going to move on at defensive coordinator, which I don't anticipate. JK says, with the Browns' elimination from the playoffs, I'm thinking Stefanski could roll out an offensive strategy unlike anything we've seen all year. I think it's very, very likely, JK, we get vanilla offense. You know what I mean? It wouldn't make sense for him to break out all the tricks once you eliminated from the playoffs. That wouldn't make much sense. Unless he knows he's getting fired or something, I think we're going to get vanilla offense, to be honest with you. Deshaun's going to throw it a lot. He's going to throw it a lot, probably out of empty and probably out of pistol a lot. But I think we're going to see, I don't think we're going to see a lot of trickeration and stuff unless, they're just throwing tricks in there to make sure guys have fun during the practice week. But I don't think we're going to see a ton of wrinkles that are going to be super important going forward. Aaron says, who is more to blame for the defensive fiasco, Joe Woods or the defensive positional coaches? At the end of the day, Joe Woods has to put these guys in position to succeed, and 30-second and run EPA tells me that these guys have not been put in position to succeed. That is literally his job, right? What the position coaches' jobs are to help him reach that goal, right? Joe Woods puts together a plan for the defense, and it's his plan. Kevin really doesn't have much say in it. The special team, it's his plan. It's his job to create up the vision for this defense, and it's the job of the positional coaches to help create that vision. And what this defense looks like is one where the vision was just inadequate, more so than just the execution of specific groups or the technique of specific groups. So, no, I don't think this is something you could just flat blame on positional coaching. Now, if you want to go another step further, maybe the positional coaching could have had more experience. Maybe the positional coaching could have been better. Sure, absolutely. But, if my job is to have people underneath me, let's put it like this, right? Let's say instead of this is the Browns, let's say Kevin Stefanski is the executive producer of a movie, right? And there are two parts to this movie, right? One part in Canada and one part in the U.S. If my job is to direct the U.S. portion of this movie, then I have to make sure the people that I hire to execute that vision that I have for the U.S. portion of this movie are doing a good job there, right? If I am getting my vision put through, they're executing my vision, and then when I show this to everybody, it's some trash, that's on me. That's what's happened with the defense, right? This isn't, they have never even gotten the vision done. No, this is 3 years. They executed the vision. This was the vision, and it ended up being trash. Like, that's not on the positional coaches. That doesn't mean that they're like exonerated, but like, Joe Woods is going to be the one that rolls. And if Joe Woods is gone, everybody else underneath him gone too. So Bennett says, would Denzel Ward trade be realistic? I used to think this was a thing, but now I'm on the flip side of it. The dead cap money seems like a big deterrent for this, right? And I think it's like $35 million in dead cap. So I think Denzel's staying put. D. Charles says with this question, what is a running back room going to look like next year? Who is most likely to be Chubb's running mate next year? I don't know yet, but I don't think it's Kareem Hunt. I think it's safe to say it's not Kareem Hunt, and I don't think it's Jerome Ford. I think it's going to be a free agent that they sign at some point in the offseason. And I think we're going to get, it's not going to be, it's going to be a more traditional mix, right? For a while it's been hammer and mallet with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, right? Where it's like one hammer, one mallet, one sledgehammer, one mallet, or whatever you want to call it. This is going to be more thunder and lightning, right? This next combo, because I think we're going to get somebody more in the mode of Demetric Felton than in the mode of Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt. But that's my answer for these questions this week. You guys, thank you for asking these questions. I want to make sure everybody here has a great day. Have an even better night.